This is a training that I love to give to all sales reps, especially this time of year, because we find ourselves in a situation where we are better than we have ever been at our skill. Even you experienced reps, you're more refined, you're better at what you're doing. You rookies have finally gotten it. And now you can really look at the rest of your time here with kind of two different perspectives. You can just decide to kind of coast out, or you can kick it into another gear and get results that you've never even dreamed of. And really it kind of comes down to you and what you're really committed to and dedicated to towards the very end. And I had this exact same experience for me. I mean, it's been 13 seasons ago that it was my very first summer, and I kind of found that many people who had seen success early in the job had decided that come August was going to come their coast time. They were just going to kind of coast it out, and whatever happened, happened. And for me, just because I was so bad at the job initially, I was grateful for every day that I had out there. And I decided that I would be committed up until the very last day. And I even saw that guys, that were going back to school would pack it up a week early. And they would drive home so they could get home and get settled. But I knew that I had committed that my last day would be 2 days before I started school. And so I remember that last week I was still working with one of my best friends, Jonathan Fajan. We were knocking doors in El Cajon, California. And I ended up finishing the last week with 12. It was an awesome week, one of my best weeks of August. And the biggest change happened when I was driving home. And I'll never forget it. It was the Tim McGraw song was brand new. It was called Live Like You Were Dying. And I was playing it in my truck with my buddy driving home with me, heading on the I-15, heading back to Utah. And all of a sudden these emotions just kind of came over to me. And I'm just like my eyes start tearing up, and I felt just this immense amount of gratitude for the experience of giving it everything that I possibly could until the very last day. Now, obviously I didn't want my buddy to notice, so I was trying to, catch my eyes in the vents of the car, trying to dry out my eyes so he wouldn't see that I was getting emotional over this experience. But for me, I will never, ever, ever trade that feeling for anything. Everything that we do in this life, the reason why we push at any given time, the reason why we like to see our name in lights, why we like to see our name on the top of the leaderboard, the reason a lot of times why we do this job is because we're looking for a feeling. And usually it's significance, but most of the time it's rooted into love or happiness. That's why we do it. And that feeling of gratitude that I felt at that time, man, I'd never trade it for anything. So if anything, if you guys can do it alone for that, then awesome. But there's a difference between completing something and finishing something. Anyone can be sitting in the seats that you're sitting in right now until the very last day of your summer. That might be 3 days from now, that might be 2 weeks from now, that might not be until the end of the extension in October. Anyone can be there, anyone can cross the finish line. But it's what you're up to. If you are committed to a specific result and that you are shooting for that result, and hopefully you even hit that result, then there's going to be a completely different sense of satisfaction. It's like kind of going to the gym, deciding, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll do some arm curls, maybe I'll do the Stairmaster for a couple minutes. I don't know, let's see what happens. You're in there 5 minutes and then you leave, right? Yeah, I went to the gym. But if you're going in there with a specific program and you go through that entire program and you complete it, there is a difference in the satisfaction you'll get from that result. Now, one quote that I want to leave with you guys. I love this quote. But it talks specifically about the difference between completion and finishing. It says, the biggest difference between finishing something and being complete about it is that with completion comes a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment. When we simply finish something in our lives, chances are we have left something unresolved for ourselves. And more than likely, what hasn't been resolved will show up the next time we experience something that mirrors the previous incident. So that quote is haunting to me, because just like anything, it's if we don't learn the lesson now, then it will show up again. And if we get in the habit of not finishing things that we start, or even more, completing things that we start, then that's going to show up again. And sometimes maybe the stakes are a little bit higher. Maybe now you've got a spouse, or that you have kids, and now they're depending on you, maybe for the first time in your life, to fully complete something. not just coast out and whatever happens, happens. So right now, take a couple minutes, and don't skip this, but right now take a couple minutes and define, write out word for word what it looks like for you to complete the rest of this summer season, through the extension, whatever time frame you have. Know how many days you have, what you're up to, what are your monthly goals, what are your daily goals, what are your weekly goals, what type of effort are you going to have, what does your attitude look like, and you just define that so that you know exactly what you're up to. The more specific you are, the more likely you are to hit it. And good luck on not just finishing, but completing the summer strong.